Okay, this is just going to be a quick video to help you with your makeup lab. So the first thing I want to point out, you should have this handout. I have attached it on Google Classroom as well. But what I'd like you to first do, know that it's due on Friday, but give yourself a second to read through the background info. Once you have done that, then you need to look at the two reactions that are going to be happening. And I need you to balance both of these equations. So make sure these get balanced, and you include states of matter. The states of matter you might have to get after watching the video at the end. Okay, if you open up your little booklet, you can see that you have your instructions right here. Okay, and it kind of tells you all of the little materials. One thing that I would like to point out that I'm going to be doing different is instead of using the fume hood or the plastic shield, I do have it set up near the window so that it's properly ventilated and we are okay. So here are the gummy bears that we're going to be using. So the video will not include the red one. You will see what happens with the green one. The red one I have already given you data for. Here is our balance. You can see what the potassium chlorate looked like beforehand. So it's a white powder. You can then also see after the first reaction where we are melting, you're basically melting the potassium chlorate. You're making it molten. You can see that it turned into a liquid right there. And this is a little video just showing that it is a liquid. Okay, and so those are all the little pieces that we are going to be using. As you can see on your data table, I've already included the observations. So we have our white powder to begin with, right here. Then we put in a cloudy liquid, or I'm sorry, after heating it, it turned into a cloudy liquid. Our gummy bear that we initially used was red, and once it dropped in, it turned into a pink purplish flame. Right, which makes sense with the red possibly, right? And then once it's done, it'll be a black solid. Now, back to that little point where I said, okay, well, we had a red gummy bear, so the flame was pink or purple. Well, I'd like you to take a second to look across at the questions, okay? After you view the video, you should be able to tell me number one. Number two, you are going to go off the fact that the red gummy bear gave a pinkish flame. What we're going to be using this second time around, you'll see it in the video, is if I use a green, so if we change the color to green, okay, then the flame will be, and you're going to go ahead and put a hypothesis. Do you think it'll change with the color of the gummy bear? Do you think it's going to stay the same? Okay? And finally, after the video, you're going to go ahead and say, you're going to have your conclusion on the color, and I will add a little helpful hint to that one at the very, very end. After the video, you should also be able to complete this little mini data table where you're going to tell me what types of reactions applied. And then you have a stoichiometry limiting reactant question that you do need to answer. So here is one of the ingredients. This is the other ingredient. You are using the C6H12O6 plus O2, making carbon dioxide and water. You're going to use the balanced equation of this to help answer this limiting reactant question. Okay? The only other thing that you are responsible for is filling out this part. What color did the flame end up being? And I end up telling you in the video also what color it is because it's a little hard to see it. But the rest of this you should have. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's look at the experiment. Okay, so I'm going to let this video play. Again, make sure you're recording what color the flame ends up being. Make sure you have done your hypothesis first. So pause the video if you need to, write your hypothesis, and then you're going to write your conclusion. Okay. Alright, so we're going to let this just a tiny bit. Here is our second trial is a green gummy bear. We're going to go ahead and place this in. I have my room ventilated, and give this a go. So make sure you write down. Make sure you have done your hypothesis first, and now you're going to write down your observations for the flame color on this one. Okay. Oops, oopsie. Of course, for the video. All right. It is hard to get the color, but it is a pinkish flame. Pinkish flame. And now it's done. You can kind of see it's still going a little bit in there. Ultimately, it turned into a black solid. Okay, so now you've hopefully written down your the color that it is. So it was a pinkish flame, and so if you notice, it stayed the same. So in your conclusion, so you're going to say whether your hypothesis was correct or not. You also need to talk about, okay, so it stayed the same, but why? And it comes down to your lab at the very, very beginning of the year, your flame test lab. If you remember, you tested stuff like sodium chloride, copper chloride. You had, I'm going blank, lithium chloride. You had magnesium chloride. You had calcium chloride, all those things, okay? So the chloride was the thing that wasn't changing the color. What was changing the color was these guys. It was the metal. So if you think about what we did in our experiment, the potassium was ultimately responsible for that color. Hopefully this video helps. Get this mini lab done, and